This is the Oakwyn Podcast, featuring Morgan Brown and Michael Yu.
Welcome to the Oakwyn Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Yu.
And I'm Morgan Brown.
And I'm the Podfather.
And we are here today, and we're so excited because we are kicking off our first series of the Woo.
Wow.
What is it, Michael? What does Woo stand for?
I think you're better to answer what woo is.
Okay. So
What is woo, Morgan?
You know what? Let me tell you about it. Woo is Women of Oakwyn. It was
Right.
established 5 years ago. This is our 5th annual event, which is
Wow.
amazing. And every year it gets bigger and better, and we have better guests and better people. But really, the Women of Oakwyn event is really just about people coming together, gathering together, and showing their support on women empowerment and women entrepreneurship. And it was created to kind of elevate and support the women in our industry. So we are so lucky to have an amazing group of people come on. And our first guest is Gina Bourne.
Hello.
There's Gina.
Hey, Gina.
Hey.
Great. It's so we're just so happy to have you. Gina is one of the agents at our office, and
Yes.
a really close person. I would say we're personal friends.
We're good
Yes.
buddies.
Yeah, we're good buddies. And yeah, we're just so proud of Gina to be a part of our community. She's one of our outstanding top agents. We were just talking about but like before the pod, Gina was like talking about her pet peeve that she hates people that refer to themselves as top agents. Why is that?
I guess because it's overused now that I feel like it's lost its meaning.
Yeah.
I don't like when people like do 2.5%. I'm like, I'm the top 2.5%. I'm like, you can't say that.
Yeah.
Just your top producer, that's it.
Right.
2.13792.
I know, I'm like, what?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Oh my gosh.
So you have been with Oakwyn since, what year was
I
that?
think it was December 2016. I think I met you in October.
That's right.
And then I actually officially started on the 2017 January. But I finished Oakwyn U in like November, December.
I feel like when I first met you, I like the first thing that went through my head was like we meet a lot of women, but there's a lot of women that have capacity, and Gina, you do, girl. You came in and said, "I'm a mom. I want to do this for my career, and I want to do it big."
Yeah.
And it was very, very. It was like profound. I was like, "You are the best," and I wasn't a mother at that time, so I was so inspired, and I think. Maybe share what your journey was before, that maybe we can dive right into it first.
Like before real estate?
Yes, and what you did and how you got into the industry.
So I've been in sales forever. My parents have chronically owned businesses, and so we used to move every 2 years. They would lease a business. We used to live in like a grocery store, like on the top.
Oh, wow.
And the convenience stores. And I just remember we'd always move. We'd meet these realtors. And in my head, I just kind of thought maybe one day, like as a kid. But then I got into sales, and I just wanted to gain as much experience as I could in all the different industries.
Right.
So I used to do, I worked for like a weight loss company. I used to do a lot of training for sales teams and management. I then went on to do like spa kind of management and distribution, selling like lasers and things like that.
Wow.
I sold parking meters at one point.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Were you a meter maid?
No, it was this really high tech parking meter that had sensors in the ground. So when you parked there, it would take a picture of your license plate.
Oh, okay.
So they had
cool.
some like test ones going in UBC. So anyways, I did that for a little bit. So my whole goal was to just gain as much experience as I could because I felt too young to do real estate at that time.
Okay.
And then when I worked at John Casablancas and I got pregnant. So I actually took my exam before I was pregnant, but then I went on mat leave, and then I was like, this is the perfect time to kind of jump right in. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't have done that. Started real estate with a newborn, but hey,
You did it.
Yeah, I did it.
Did you find that you were being like from an entrepreneurial family? Did you find that was like very good for you leaning into this?
100%. I think I have a really high tolerance for how much I can handle, which I think lends itself well in this industry especially. But I've always just had a vision. I know what I want, and I'm not going to stop until I get it. And so I think with real estate, what really attracted me to it is that it's limitless, right? And it's really about you, your brand. I always knew I was going to have a team. And so, it's so much about you and how you want to serve your community and your clientele. And every agent's not the same. So I kind of like that I can kind of create my own, I guess,
What do you
culture.
think the source of that, like, tunnel vision, like, I'm going to make this happen, like, where do you think that comes from? Because that's pretty rare, actually. Not a lot of people don't have that kind of mindset.
I don't know. I think it's my dad just always would want to do so many things. He wanted to open a Korean restaurant. My mom's like, no. He was like, I'm going to do this.
Right.
My mom was like, no, that's a bad idea. And so he was always kind of thinking of different ideas. I've just always been a really passionate person. So if I want to do something, I just won't stop until I do it. So
was that part of like your now building out your team? Like, what is your philosophy just working with your clients and also just for your services?
I want to give like the best experience they've ever had.
That's perfect.
You know, I want them to walk away being like, wow, like thank God we had them. And it's kind of the same thing with my team. I want to give so much value, so much support that they're like, thank God, you know, and that they feel really supported. I feel like there's a lot of different kinds of teams out there. And I've obviously been on a few and just observing from different people that I've talked to. And I've kind of over the years in my business formulated, okay, this is kind of what I want my team to look like. And you know, there's certain qualities that I look for in the team and, you know, growth mindset, you know, being around like-minded people, I think is so important. We spend so much time with the people that we work with. And if you're not enjoying it, it's just too much of your life, right? So I think I wanted to surround myself with the right people so that I can keep my vibe up and we can just kind of vibe off each other. So
such a good philosophy.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I think it's so important who you surround yourself with. And, you know, it's specifically if you're building a team. And Gina, you've... you know, I'd like to kind of rewind and go back to the start, you know, being a new mom. How old was Emmeline when you...
She was 10 months old when I started.
10 months old when you started in real estate, right? I remember you bring her into the office. I was like...
I know. She's turning 6 in like 2 weeks.
That's
and I'm in
crazy.
such denial right now. I know.
Jeez.
She's doing affirmations and meditation.
Yes.
Guys.
Listen out for
She's
her,
amazing.
her channel. Yeah.
Her channel's coming out soon.
Does she have a channel?
She really wants a YouTube channel. She keeps
really?
recording these videos where
Okay.
she's like, hi, I'm Emmeline Bourne. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you like and comment. And I
Wow,
just
really?
take them and then I don't post them anywhere. And then I told her I can post them on her Instagram, but she's like, but mommy, I made this for everyone to hear and watch. So I don't know.
I feel
Wow.
like
We'll see.
do you think that was from the power of like her seeing other kids? Because there's so many on YouTube. If anyone doesn't go onto the YouTube channels for children, which I think every parent will because they have to, it's so amazing. The kids are so
They're really
creative
bright,
and
yes.
bright
Yeah.
on these channels. Do you think that influenced her?
She actually hasn't even watched those.
It's good.
She just, I don't know. She just always has this. She's a ham, so she just likes to be in the spotlight. She likes to zhuzh it up. So we'll see. I don't.
part
I
of
don't
it.
know if
It's
I'm
Were
gonna-
you
part of
like
her.
that as a kid?
Yeah, I think I was always trying
You
to.
were in the arts, right? Like, tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that.
Let me tell you about this. How long is this going to take?
I just grew up in a really musical family, so I
Right.
always wanted to like sing and dance. And so in high school, I was on like the dance team, and but I'm actually quite shy. So I remember my husband, the first time I uploaded like a YouTube video of me singing, he had like never even heard me sing before. He was like, "That's what you sound like," and so he would always have to leave. So I don't know. It's not really. It's just something I do for fun. But not
So if
seriously.
we go in karaoke and we had a couple, we threw a couple
Songs like
Hey
titles.
Y'all's
What would
back.
be? What would it be?
run very far
What would
away.
you choose? What would be your like choice song?
Yeah, what would be like
I
your
don't
number
know.
one?
I feel like I like the 90s, you
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
like I
So
love
what's
the
your
boy
go-to
bands.
song?
I don't have a go-to song for karaoke. I don't. I just like I said, all the old school, like R&B songs, you know.
Yeah,
SWV.
Right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm like, are you evoke like SWV, like
yeah, like on Vogue.
Savage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of those people, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I'm trying to get
don't
Gina
get
to
it.
sing.
It's not happening.
Yeah, you're really pushing for it.
I am. I really want to hear that tune.
That's amazing though, and I think that's one thing that when we're talking about being a mother and being an agent in this industry, the reason why we put out Woo is there's a lot of discrimination that happens with being a woman and limitations a lot of, unfortunately, females and males put on working parents. What are some tips to some of those working moms? Like you just jumped into like 10 like months of your child. What would you say after learning this whole process as a realtor? What would you tell other young women?
I think having a good support system is key. And, I think that's part of why I came to Oakwyn. I really was inspired by Morgan being like a strong female woman. I was really inspired by that Oakwyn seems to really empower women. And when you guys started the Woo thing, I thought that was really cool. I really leaned on other moms that were realtors. Johanna, I met her, we did a deal together, and she has 2 kids. And I was like, how do you do it? And so I took her out for coffee, we got to meet. And I think just that helped me a lot because I felt very alone because everyone else is so busy and they're doing this, but they don't have kids. And, when you talk to coaches, even they're like, oh, structure your day like this, but you can't do that when you have a newborn. I'd have to go back home to breastfeed her.
Exactly.
Like I couldn't just, just drop everything and do it. So I had to really learn time management. And I also think a really big learning curve for me was the unpredictability of this career.
Yes.
I thought,
What do you mean by that?
because I'm a planner. Like
Right.
I plan my vacation days, like I like to know.
Itinerary.
Yes, totally. I like to plan my days in the half-hour time slots. I want to know what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people get into real estate thinking, I'm going to make my own schedule.
Right.
But you're on everybody else's schedule.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So I think that part was hard. And even now when I'm like, okay, Em, I have nothing to do tonight. I can hang out with you. And then a client calls, we got to go see this place. We have to write an offer. That's sometimes hard to manage. But yeah, I would just say having that strong support system, having someone who's done it before to help avoid some of the I guess, stumbling that I did in the beginning.
Did you have what we call, me and Arlene say, the classic mom guilt? And do you still have it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like it's bad. And so how did you overcome that? Or it's not something you can overcome. I think mom, father, like there's guilt when you have to go and you want to be with your children, of course.
Of course.
How did you manage that?
I
Vodka,
try
right?
lots and lots of
Yeah,
alcohol.
okay,
I actually don't really drink that much, but I think it's
marijuana.
just some drugs.
Oh, okay.
Nothing
Some
major.
berries.
Yeah.
Nothing
Like
hard.
Like
She's into
a little heroin here and there. It's fine.
Yeah, no big
That's
deal.
all right.
Okay, Tammy,
Yeah. Tips
Just
for
in
real estate.
moderation, yeah.
I think with the mom guilt, I just had to really get clear on what my vision is. And I think you have to give yourself grace. There's a saying that I read somewhere about shooting a second arrow. Like if something happens and, your day gets all messed up or whatever, that's the first arrow that gets shot at you. And then the second one we shoot at ourselves, like, what's wrong with me? I'm a bad mom. I do this. And so I try not to shoot that second arrow and just try to deal with the first. And I feel like the guilt, it doesn't serve anything. It's kind of a useless emotion. And instead I just try to turn it into a lesson for my daughter, right? I feel like with my parents, they worked so hard.
Right.
So their level of work ethic is just normal to me, right?
Yes.
And so with her, I try to turn it into, I know I work a lot, but it's mommy has a dream and I'm doing it. Like everything that I have right now, I'm so proud of myself. And, when you have a goal, you can't give up. And I tell her when I have bad days all the time.
Great.
Yesterday I dealt with an agent it was a difficult situation. And I told her, I'm like, you know what, this happened and this is how I work through it. And I just think it's a really good opportunity for a lesson. Instead of a guilt thing. I shouldn't feel bad about that because this is ultimately going to provide a great life for her too. And so
But it
I
also
think,
creates like my mom always says that to me. You are like giving, because you are sharing so much and they're seeing it through you.
Yeah.
They're learning it a lot faster than other people that don't see it. And
Totally.
I think as a female, Gina, you have a daughter, how much you're going to give her is just, it's going to be like, she's going to be able to follow whatever she wants because she sees her mommy being so passionate about what she does and helping other people. It's phenomenal, right? It's a pretty, and you can tell by your daughter just being so happy. She's like making all these like songs and everything. Affirmations.
Yeah, no, she's super happy. And I think it's just about managing your time. So I try to do time blocks. Like she was out of school for a couple months during COVID. So that was challenging because I would just have to time block. Okay, the first, breakfast meals, I would have those times with her and then I work in between. And, you just got to manage your time. And like I said, not go down the rabbit hole of the guilt. It still happens. Yeah. I still feel bad.
I like this concept of the second arrow. So what were you doing before you thought of this kind of shift and what were you doing after?
I mean, I was shooting like a million arrows, right? It's just, I would feel bad. I would dwell. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I had so much anxiety. I think I'm an empath. So especially with clients, when they're stressed out, I would just absorb it all.
Right.
And I just learned like, that's not for us to absorb. We can just be there to guide and I can still help them in every way possible without also being consumed by
Love it.
the situation.
Yeah.
Right. And so I look at myself as like, I'm the light. I'm going to like fix this. And I don't need to get caught up in all of that stuff. So
Did you read something to learn that lesson, or was it through life experience, or what?
life experience, I read a lot of, I listen to like audiobooks, just different like blogs that I read.
Michael Yu podcast.
Yeah, Michael Yu podcast every day on
Oldie but a
repeat.
goodie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never listened to one of his podcasts.
I'm just joking.
I'm joking, guys. I'm just joking.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, no, I feel like it's just I'm just all about growth mindset. It's always like
Growth
how do I
mindset.
become
Yeah, okay.
better and how do I perform my best? And it's just a lot of like self exploration, getting to being aware of your I don't want to say flaws, but I guess just opportunities for growth and healing. I think also when you're a mom and you see your kid, I then am able to, I guess, recognize all the ways that I do beat myself up. And I look at her and she's struggling with like reading or tying her
Yes.
shoe or something. And she's like, oh, getting so frustrated. And I'm like, but we do that to ourselves. And I'm coaching her not to beat herself up and to like have confidence and don't give up, keep trying and persevere. But then we sometimes don't do that. We just beat
our lead by example. It's harder for that,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to always be so mindful of that.
Yeah.
Because you can show that to them really quickly.
Yeah.
And you do not want to break that down.
Totally.
You don't want to break it down at all. Well, that's so, I get that. I get a lot of agents that come to me right before they get pregnant, or they're like just thinking about pregnant and they're really scared. A lot of women are just like, I'm nervous. My clients aren't going to want to work with me. Did you feel that fear? Like as a,
For sure.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm a mom, a lot of people are not going to want to work with me because I have a family and that's my first priority. How did you overcome that? I think a lot of people would love to hear that.
I was really careful personally to not really ever use my daughter as an excuse. I would just say I have an appointment. I have, I can't do it this time. How about this time? But I've actually been working on that too. I've talked to a lot of other agents who say that they just tell their clients
Gotta be
6 to
open.
8 p.m. is my bedtime, and that the clients end up respecting them for that. Okay, I get that. And so I think it's also me changing my mindset about thinking it's something wrong.
Yes.
But most people do understand. And I think in the beginning, though, when you're starting out your career, you want to be doing everything for everyone, but setting those boundaries. And for someone that's thinking about, I get a lot of moms that reach out to me too. You just find a way.
Yeah, you do.
You just figure out a way. And I think that's why the support thing is so key. Even having like another agent friend that could maybe help you with a showing or
Right.
take on a client with you if you're on a
You
team.
did that a lot before you had a team, right?
Yeah, I did that a lot. I've co-listed and shared some clients with some agents. It's nice.
It is so good. It's good to have the support.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier, Gina, you talked about like, mommy's dream, Gina's dream. Like share like a little bit about what that dream looks like. I'd love to know.
Yes.
Big dreams.
Yeah. And how do you express that? Yeah.
Through
Through
singing.
song.
I know. I knew.
Go
I'm
on.
like, is that where you're going? I was like, is he asking me to say singing?
I like a C flat.
Me.
There
you go.
That's pretty good.
There you go.
Hey, Gina.
That's it.
I know.
You're
I
our
wanna hear
next
scales.
entertainment for our parties. This is it.
Oh my gosh. Well, why did I come here today?
You drove from Langley, right?
Yeah.
To get tortured by Michael
Totally.
and Morgan.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, sing.
What was the question?
How do
What's
you
my
like,
vision?
Yeah, your vision, your
Yeah.
dream, yeah.
For me, I've, like I said, always wanted to just train and coach and motivate. I really love that aspect of this, at least in my role now, just educating, inspiring. My vision is to build a team where I can make all of their dreams come true. Right? I want to keep building this up so big. Are you okay?
I love you. I love you so much. That is the best type of dream.
Right.
To
Keep
give.
going, though, yeah.
Keep on going. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really important to me because I want to just keep growing and I also want to elevate the standard of the industry. I feel like I offer a very high level of service and
You do.
I want to kind of let that become contagious to anybody that comes to work with me. But as a leader too, I want to be able to offer them so much value. And, I just want, that's why I tell all of my assistant and Amanda, who's a new agent with Oakwyn, tell me what you want to do with this business. I want to know all the goals and I'm going to help you to get there. I don't know. I guess that's kind of
That's
what it is in
really
short.
exciting. You mentioned elevating those standards. So what makes when someone works with Gina, what's the difference?
Like I said, I think I just try to take it going beyond the extra mile. I feel like
Right.
that's kind of the bare minimum. I feel
Wow.
like we get
Okay.
paid, Well, obviously, but it's also just, it's such a stressful time for people. And I think because I've been through that so many times with my parents, I'm basically just the realtor that I would want to hire.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
That's a great way of looking at it.
Like this is the bottom line of what I would expect. I want to have over communication. I want to be educated. I want to understand. I have so many clients that will be like, oh, my friend is working with somebody. They don't know what this means. Can you tell them? And I'm like, but shouldn't they ask them? So I never want that to be the case with my clients. And like I said, just making things really easy for them. It is a really stressful time. And so just trying to make that as seamless as possible and really make them feel supported. And I want them all to feel like they're my only client.
I love that. Do you cap out your clientele because like just for not overworking yourself, or are you pretty like, do you keep it like the more the merrier? Come into my little.
I don't think I've gotten to the point where I can't handle it. I think I started to, and then that's when I hired my assistant and and Amanda. Actually, they started on the same day. It just was perfect timing.
Magical.
October 5th. I'll never forget it. And it was. I think that's when I knew I just had to make that shift. So. Because I can handle a lot, but it's like you start to burn out and there's no time to catch up. And that's when I was like, something needs to change.
People start getting disappointed.
It's kind of unique with Gina. So she was kind of preparing for a busy season, she, in terms of, October 2020 was not a super busy time in the market. And I think we had a conversation about like, teams and stuff like that. And you decided to invest and you really invested in the business. Can you share a little bit about that kind of decision and the process there?
You just get to the point where you can only grow so much. And I'm all about, I'm always thinking like 20 steps ahead, right? How are we going to grow? And when I think about the big vision that I have, I mean, I plan to have a really big team, I think. And I do eventually want to get into some level of coaching, maybe even outside of my team. And then there's a bunch of other business ideas I have. Like I want to make like a planner, notebooks. There's just so many different things, right? So I want to be able to just keep on... It doesn't sing.
I want like affirmations. I want like a button where your kids' affirmations is playing.
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, that's what I want.
Gina Bourne melody planner.
Oh my
The
God.
harmony planner by Gina Bourne.
We are making big ideas here. Big ideas here.
Yeah, I think I just want, I want the freedom, right? To be able to pursue all of my passions. I want the freedom for my husband and my daughter and also for everyone on my team, right? So,
speaking of your husband, do you think that you could have like really managed this without his
hell to the no? No.
Is it like, because I find that a lot of females are like, the ones that are like really going for it is always the same, that it's this husband, and it's, they always say like it's the woman behind the man.
Yeah.
It's really like the other way now. Like
Totally.
it's like the man behind the woman.
Yes.
Is it, or even just like, I always say that it's the men like just being able to be right next to me, like supporting. I saw Camila for like the presidency, and I saw her husband there, and he's like the first male, and I started crying because I was like, "What? This is a change of the times with that." How has your husband helped you, and how have you guys kept really strong throughout this time when you guys are going into?
How did you train your husband? I'm just kidding.
I didn't train him. We've been together for so long. So I met him when I was like almost 20. Awesome. And I'm not going to tell you how old I am. But
you had
she's 25.
Yeah,
she's 25.
I'm just going to be 25 forever.
25 years old.
Yeah. And so I've always been a workaholic. So even when he met me, that was when I was in that weight loss company and I was working my way up in the ranks. I was being hired to train different markets. I went to Hawaii for a few months to train that market there. So I've just always been traveling for work. I've worked 7 days a week. Always.
He loves that about you. He's
never been, I remember somebody asking, does he ever get mad when you work late? And I was like, huh? Like why? I couldn't understand why anyone would. I mean, now I can, because sometimes you miss plans or things change, but he's so supportive. He's always been my rock and my biggest cheerleader. And even now, like he's totally has to pick up the slack. We're just a team. We're one unit. And so he's like, this is your time. And obviously the whole goal is to be able to keep building so that I can have some time off. Right. And then things will shift again. Right. So
find a man too that's going to be really supportive of that right away and sharing that.
Or just like a support structure as well. Like, I've worked with a variety of different, family members, single dads, single moms as well. And just having that right support for them is key. Absolutely.
Super key. That's so cool. And finding them young is that's much easier. But I find that a lot of people are like, we're just finding our, I have a lot of moms that are like, I'm just finding this, like I'm just dating and I know he's not going to be into it. And I think even Mike, when you started dating Priya, it was like, he's a workaholic too. Like we all work a lot.
Yeah.
And it's about setting those expectations, I think, right away.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And just a level of understanding, because obviously if I'm like, oh, I can't do that tonight, we can't have our dinner plans, I have to deal with this offer. He knows I'm not doing it because I just want to cancel and I don't want to hang out with you.
Yes.
I have to do it. It's my business. And so he knows how I want to serve my clients. So he'll do whatever, he needs to. It's really cute. They'll always do stuff like I was working on an offer and I was just like in my room furiously typing and working away. And they like snuck out. I didn't even know that they left, and they came back and brought like food from my favorite restaurant for dinner.
Oh, wow.
And they'll always like, when I come home from a long weekend, they'll have like a picnic laid out. And so he's just, he's
mindful of that.
Yeah, totally. Of just helping to create some of that balance, because sometimes we don't have time to do that for ourselves, right? Because you're just too busy. So yeah, it's really nice. And again, I think it's a great example for Emmeline
Right.
to see, he's setting high standards. So
He's setting he's like, that's like the best dad.
Yes,
And that means
exactly.
like any man that goes like near her, she's like got that standard.
Yeah.
It's amazing the psychology of your daughter and son and how much our parents influence
100%.
all of that direction, right?
100%.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to see that you've grown your business. Do you feel like you have a lot more to accomplish, like into kind of like the growth of your own resale business?
I don't think I'll ever be like, I did it. Like, I don't think I'm ever
that's what I
gonna
need to
be.
do. That's a mindset.
Right.
Yes.
I think I heard Lewis Howes talk about this. I think it was him. They were talking about different types of entrepreneurs. I think it was achievement based and lifestyle.
Okay.
So he was saying that if you're a lifestyle entrepreneur, then you kind of get to a certain lifestyle and then you're kind of good. But achievement is like, you just keep going for the next thing. And that's me. I'm never going to be like, I'm done. It's always going to be something else. So.
I love Lewis Howes. If you guys, he's
the
best.
He's like, I just like only listen to him when I need like a pep talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like,
cool.
boop.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
awesome.
Lewis Howes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really
Is he
good.
like a writer or is he?
No, he's like an old NFL
NFL,
player
yeah.
that went to be a lifestyle entrepreneur coach.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's
He
it's
calls
called
himself.
School of Greatness. So he
Yeah.
interviews
okay.
a lot. He did a great interview with Kobe Bryant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot of really, just about how they make their lives great.
Oh,
Joe
that's cool.
Dispenza, he interviewed him, and I love Joe Dispenza. If you guys don't know him,
Who's
I
Joe
like-
Dispenza?
I feel like I don't know that one.
Yeah. What's he all
he's
about?
a doctor, Joe Dispenza, and he's all about essentially like reprogramming your subconscious.
He's a neuroscientist.
Yes, yeah.
I listened to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
he's
good.
amazing because he talks about like how, anyways, everyone should listen to him.
it,
He's
yeah.
amazing. That was the one that I like. I like his whole like concept about like how it's all frame of mind and it's specific things that are low. But anyways,
Yeah.
it's very good. I love him.
Exactly.
I think he's a great guy.
There's something I'm pretty interested in, Gina. So you mentioned that you're thinking about like maybe even building a planner. How do you plan for your business? Like what's your
Yeah, because you're like so
show us
you're-
your blueprint?
I don't really have one. I mean, I have so many different planners for different things. So I
Okay.
have one journal that's
Okay.
all about like manifestation. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like a
What-
black notebook
So
that I
good.
have,
This
and I
is a
write
plan.
down every single thing that I want to manifest. I'll also write future journal entries, but in the present tense. So it'll be
okay.
like December 31st, 2021. Today was awesome. I can't believe I achieved this. I'm so proud of this. Da 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 da. And I write it
wow.
from the
Beautiful.
future. But then you're supposed to embody it like it's already happened. And it's crazy because the one that I wrote at the beginning of last year for December 2020,
Yeah.
everything came true.
Really?
And so I do like to do
Gina
that
Bourne.
kind of
What
stuff.
was on there?
My deepest, darkest secrets. A lot of it was like personal growth, my
Yes.
business, hiring the team. I found like the dream team, all of those
Yeah.
kinds of things. It's mostly about how I feel. Honestly, I think just growing up Asian, we kind of get trained, again, our subconscious kind of conditioning is about achievement, right?
Yeah.
And for that approval. And I think I had to learn to detach myself from the outcome because it became this obsession of like, I have to do it or else. And then you start feeling like crap if you don't hit it.
Right.
And so now I've kind of learned how to detach the outcome. Like I have big goals, but if I don't hit them, I'm totally fine with it, right? Because I do believe and trust that everything happens as it should. And sometimes we don't know what is best for us. If I got
universe.
everything I wanted, I wouldn't be here, right? Because we think we know what we want, but we don't have enough foresight to know for sure.
I think that we get everything we want, but at different times.
Totally.
It's never the time that you think it's going to come.
We get what we're supposed to get.
Yeah, at the time of where it is. That's what I'm the exact same way as you, for
Yeah.
sure. Like,
Yeah, so like just that shift between like external motivation versus internal motivation.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that I can feel good no matter what.
do you,
know
like
about
write
myself.
them on like the full moon? Like, do you have the dates?
No, I'm not into the moon stuff yet. My friends are always like, it's the
What's
full
the
moon.
moon?
Are you
You're
gonna
gonna manifest on
recharge
today?
your
Yeah.
crystals? And I'm not. I just kind of do it when I feel like it. What?
Morgan's into it. and my
That's
wife is
totally
into
fine.
that.
I just have never gotten into it. My friends are very much into the moon thing. I want to learn. I find it super interesting because
They're like power days to manifest.
Yes, yeah.
It's super true. Like, I'm not joking you. I've manifested everything on those
I
days.
believe it. I
it's
believe it.
creepy.
Do you try on other days?
No, I don't. I have like I'm like Gina. I have like a journal for it, but I usually write for what I want in the year, and then I have like all the way to 20 years.
Right.
It's like a pretty long plan, but I check in a lot. And then when those like lunar years come in, I rewrite them, and then I sit there with like I literally look at them for like 20 minutes.
That's
just, like,
amazing.
Yeah, did you manifest
Looking
your
at-
best pal looking like me or?
yeah, I did. I was like, I need more laughter in my life because he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
Nailed it.
I need some offside
didn't.
comments from Michael Yu every day.
Yeah, mine was like, Dear Diary, I hope I do a podcast and Michael tortures me to say.
Tortures.
That was
This
for
is
sure.
it.
Yeah.
That's so
It
cool.
happened.
That's so cool. Now, are you teaching that to your team? Are you trying
Oh,
to get
yeah.
them
Yeah.
like to plan to
so
that point?
So
yeah.
you have the black manifest.
I got them all
journal.
that for
Oh, wow.
Christmas.
Oh,
So
cool. Okay.
got them their
Love
magic
this.
black books and some
Right.
planners. So for future vision stuff, I've got a very special one, and I like to look at it. It kind of gets me excited.
Right.
I do it when I feel inspired to.
And this is like handwritten.
Handwritten.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
And I'll
okay.
just like think about, I have like a note thing in my phone that's like future vision. And so things that I'll just,
wow.
want to embody. And I really believe in living as your higher self,
Yes.
your future self. So a lot of my decisions have been made that way. I feel like sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And oh, I don't think I'm good enough. And you just have to think, well, what would my
future self
future
say?
self do? And she'd be like, let's do it. And so trying to live from that space and writing from that space in that journal. So I've got that. And then I have an actual planner where I just write down all of my to-dos. So I've learned to do time blocking. I feel like that's really helpful as a mom. So it's like trying to group them into similar categories, like all emails done. Then like doing bigger projects and trying to chunk them down that way has
Right.
been pretty helpful for me. So
Did you
That's
feel scattered
amazing.
before you did that?
I mean, I've just always done that.
Oh, you've always done that.
Yeah,
Okay, that's great.
I've always had a planner. I'm such a nerd. I have so
No,
many.
it's because part of your age is Asian. And I will say I'm the same way. I'm like, I love paper. For some reason, I don't know why paper planners and pens and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I just like,
They're the best.
it's like in my DNA.
yes,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I need to go get more paper. Like, I
I
don't even
have
need it.
such a huge stash of notebooks and planners that I hide. And David's like, how many more do you need?
I know.
I'm like, I use them all. So
Yeah.
they all have different purposes. I have like a gratitude one. It's,
Yes.
and then I've got like a journal that I actually do write in. I do like morning pages. I do that. So yeah, I feel like it's very therapeutic.
Are you like a person of routine in the morning? Like,
Yes.
so what is your routine like?
I mean, it's really hard right now,
Yes.
especially with like Emmeline's school, and I don't have a huge chunk of time in the mornings. But before she was going to school, I would wake up at 5 and do like my meditation, my
Wow.
journaling. I would do my yoga or whatever, and then be ready by the time she woke up.
Amazing.
The other day, I woke up at 4:30 to get my work done. I'm a morning person, so I just
Right.
like to kind of get it done. So I've also learned to be okay when it doesn't work out because I am someone of routine. So sometimes it's frustrating when I don't have time to do my stuff in the morning.
Right.
But I've also trusted that everything that I need to get done will get done
Oh, that's
in perfect
amazing.
timing. So
That's great.
I
This is the Oakwyn podcast.
Yes.
And I'm actually curious, Gina, because you've interacted with a couple different, like in your brokerages and your journey.
This is awkward.
This is very awkward.
He
and
wants
subtle.
a testimonial. No, okay. So listen, this is the deal. I have a straight up question.
Michael.
Yeah.
What drew you? Okay, what drew you to Oakwyn? That's like, I mean, you being like, you said a lot about like female empowerment. What has made you?
If you're ever thinking about buying or selling a home,
What has made you like number one? stay and also just really like I'm going to tell you, Gina has been like our number one fan. Like she has brought
Thank you,
over
Gina.
some incredible talent. Like I mean, just I'm thinking of all the people, and we actually get to see who's referring who and whatever, and we want to thank you for that. But what is the thing that you think that makes it special and keeps you around?
I was at a pretty older school brokerage when I first started. I didn't really do any research. I just kind of joined my friend and just went where he went. And I really believe in social media. I love Instagram. It's a hobby for me. It's fun. But no one there was really into that. And I honestly didn't really know a brokerage like Oakwyn existed. You just don't know, right? And so Lara was on your team, and her and I met at the post-licensing course. And so we kind of kept in touch. And when I heard about Oakwyn, I was like, that sounds like exactly what I want to do. And just like the social media, the culture you walk in, the office was beautiful. Just the vibe instantly. And I remember I sat down with Morgan and I was like, I think I'm going to start like maybe in a year. And you're like, you're starting now. You're going to start right now. And I was like, no. And I didn't think I could do it on my own with a baby. It just felt very impossible. And especially because everyone around me like didn't have babies, and they were like, if I can't barely do it, you're never going to be able to do it. I've had people say that you're never going to be able to do this with a kid. And because I didn't want her in like daycare or like a nanny, I didn't want to do that yet. And so they all just told me, it's going to be impossible. And I was like, I'll show you. I'll show you.
Oh, I love that. I think that it's like what we said about being around like-minded people.
Yeah.
You never know it's possible until you're around that.
Yes,
right?
totally.
And, even for myself, jumping into being a mother, I'm so lucky I have some like Jessica Chen, like
love
just
her. Yeah.
females that are just such powerhouses, and they do it to the best of their abilities, and they do it, and they are really filling themselves up. Like I think that's a big thing for a female is like, being able to say, okay, I'm not only like I can be a mother, but I also need to fulfill this tank. I need to make sure that I'm feeling my own self-worth, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. And I mean, you've brought in over some fantastic agents that we are so thankful for. But I think we're mostly thankful for you because you've added so much to our culture and our community, right? And we're just like, I think the next steps for you is just going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm actually curious a little bit about the social media aspect because you're really into social media. You're really into Instagram. And so can you share a little bit about why you decided to dive into that side of the business?
My last
marketing?
job, I've always been into marketing, and I used to do photography. I just it's just, I'm a creative person. Yeah.
Sure.
And so at John Casablanca's, where I used to work, they're like a hair, fashion, makeup school. They didn't really have too much on social media. And so I actually spearheaded the whole social media department. So I was like, let's do this because it's such a visual school, right? It's all makeup and, and so many amazing makeup artists came out of that school, went on to get like millions of followers. And so I just saw this power in social media and reaching out and like I said, it was just really fun because all the photos were so pretty.
Sure, right.
And so when I left there and to get into real estate, honestly, everybody's pages for realtors, I was like, I don't think I'd ever follow any of these unless I was in real estate because it's like just sold, just listed, and it wasn't interesting to me. So I started out I wanted it to not look like a realtor's account. That was kind of my first thing. So I started with just interior shots because I was like, just make it visually pretty and things that I liked. And then I slowly started to infuse myself into it because I knew I don't like taking pictures. I don't like to pose, but I knew that for real estate,
it's so photogenic.
Oh my
You're so
God,
photogenic.
no.
Oh my God.
Everybody thinks that, but it's like there's thousands of photos before that, trust me. And I work with the same photographer all the time, MJ Photo Van. She's the best.
Yes.
So we know, she knows like how, we've got a rhythm going, a synergy, so it becomes a little bit easier. But David also, I had to teach him how to take photos on my phone. And so he's gotten pretty good too. But and so I just kind of started growing it that way. And I met a lot of amazing people. One of my closest friends now, she's actually an agent in San Jose. Her name is Shafak, and we've become such good friends just off of social media. I just feel like it's such we talk all the time. I have another friend that we met online as well. And a lot of agents do reach out and say, why did you choose Oakwyn and what tips do you have? But I think, like I said, it's just kind of this creative outlet. I like editing photos and showcasing a side of me. But
You get a lot of clients through your Instagram and social media, right?
For
amazing?
sure. Yeah.
And you like, how do you capture them? Is it just they come to you and you're like, yeah, I can help you kind of thing?
Yeah, they usually reach out. I try to do a lot of messaging around like I'm not. My last post was like, I'm not going to stalk you, because I think a lot of people's hesitation to reach out to an agent is I don't want them to keep on calling me, but they have questions.
Right.
And so I'm trying to come from a space of just get help, ask questions, call me. I'm not going to stalk you, because I just feel like so many people get into this market buying or selling with misinformation, and they could have avoided that had they just asked some questions
Yes.
or had someone they could reach out to.
Right.
And so I always tell people the biggest mistake I see is not reaching out to an agent sooner. So I'm trying to create this messaging that makes people feel safe to reach out.
Yeah.
And then they do. And then I do a completely no obligation consultation.
Sure.
And it's legitimately no
in
obligation.
the phone, or is that on Zoom?
I used to
or
do
is
it
that
in person, but now it's on Zoom.
Okay.
And it's an
good.
educational consult. It's really not about me. It's more like, here's the steps of
wow.
buying, da-da-da-da. And then at the end, I'm like, I actually also tell people, if you don't feel I am the right fit, I'll personally help you find someone that is. But usually it ends up being the right fit.
It's
yeah.
you.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
choose
It's you.
So if there was an agent out there that was looking to have an effective social media presence, and I think I actually point a lot of agents to Gina's pages
Me
and
too.
her stories and stuff
I was
like
like,
that
Gina.
as a good example. What would be the top 3 tips that you would give to them?
I think you have to try to be you. And I know that sounds so cliche, but
true.
I think even for me, I would try to write for what I thought people wanted to hear instead of what I actually sound like.
Right.
You know, I feel like a lot of times when we're typing a caption, it's not actually what I would say out loud. So I actually started to say my captions out loud. And then I write them, because then
That's
I feel
so
like
smart.
it comes out like my voice more.
authentically,
I'm taking that.
Yeah, totally. Because when I type it, it almost sounds like an email. So it's kind of like professional. It's a little more
Yes.
formal. So I wanted to make it more like me.
Conversational.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think doing a lot of video, I hate posting videos, but I really feel like that's the only way people can get to know you. That's the only
Videos.
way. It's a video. And I think a lot of people on Instagram, it can be intimidating, right? Someone's like, oh, this person looks like this or that. And I think in video, you can really show who you are.
Yes.
Right.
And address a lot of the questions that they are having without them having to reach out to you. And I feel like that eliminates a lot of that fear of, can I even trust you? You know, and then I think it's the whole trust factor. And I think you have such an opportunity to create that trust online in Instagram, and it's free. And all you have to do is just be
Take some
yourself.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
If we were to just, I hope you don't mind sharing openly with us. So if you were to
No.
say, so let's say in your career, how many leads have you actually closed it with social media?
Honestly, I have no idea. I should probably track that. It's hard too, because it's not always just on Instagram, right? They'll I have a guide that they'll download. I actually have this one client that we're working with right now, and I actually did client interviews as part of my coaching program I'm doing to understand what was the process before you came to me.
Right.
And she found me on Instagram, and she told me that she had looked up on a few brokerage websites, Oakwyn specifically, because she felt like it was a lot of young kind of, cool agents and
Active.
that would deal with first time buyers too.
Right.
That wouldn't be intimidating. So she said that she actually followed several realtors and just kind of followed us for a few months
Oh, cool.
to kind of get to know us through our social media. And then she booked
her
a call with
choice.
me, and then, yeah.
The rest is history.
Yeah, so sometimes it's
I would totally
that.
work with Gina. Gina,
Yeah, yeah.
you were like my
I
type
would
of.
hire Gina in a
I'd be like,
second.
Gina, you're my for both
Perfect.
buy and sell.
Yeah.
This is a verbal contract.
We just have implied agency.
Yeah.
When are we listing your place?
Michael or Gina? Michael or Gina?
Yeah.
I think that's
Pick me.
clear, easy choice.
Yeah.
Gina, it's just been so awesome to have you
So
on the
great.
podcast.
This was so
and to
fun.
get to
Thank you.
and so for those of you that are interested in Gina, what's the best way of getting in touch with you, Gina?
I guess go to my Instagram
Yeah.
at Gina Bourne, and I guess my website, or just text me, call me anytime, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gina.
Thanks,
and on
Gina.
that note, guys, thank you so much for listening to the Oakwyn podcast, Woo Special Edition.
Woo special
Woohoo.
edition.
Yeah.
We got 2 more to go, buddy.
Yeah. And
Buddy Mike. I'm calling Mikey D.
Snooky Brown. And on that note, guys, thanks so much for listening to the Oakwyn podcast. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please rate it 5 out of 5 on your
Just rate it 5 out of 5, everyone.
and write us a little review. And if you are interested in Oakwyn, feel free to message us on our website at www.oakwyn.com/join and type in the message box pod 2021 and you'll get a free piece of mystery swag. Okay,
I
guys.
do
Until
it?
next time.
Guys.
Thanks so much, Gina.
Bye.
See you later.
Thanks.
Bye.